Hey y'all, welcome to our Insecure Season 5, Episode 3, Lawrence episode recap. You know we about to go the entire fuck in. First, let me introduce my girls. I'm starting off with you, Ashley. Hey Ash, with the ombre blonde.
Yes, I'm ready for this Lawrence slander.
Yeah, it's about to be one of those days. So I haven't caught up with the Twitter trending. I'm sure it's a mess, but we're gonna get into it. Hey, season
Hi.
with the middle part.
Yes, no bayang this week.
No bang. Okay, we got MD Turp. We got the 33 here. I don't know if CA is going to show up and tell us about ourselves. If I were CA, I would be hiding under a rock right now. I would be
No.
hiding under a rock right now. I wouldn't even come up to try to defend what we just saw tonight. The 33 says this was a good episode. It was a good episode. They gave us a lot to chew on. Okay. MD Turp says serving looks and face tonight. Thank you. Because, look, for all the slander we're going to do, we have to at least look halfway decent because this is probably the way that I get hate mail. I'm warning y'all ladies in advance. This is probably going to make it onto some, I'm not going to call out any specific names. Shit, I don't want to summon them like the demons that they are, but it's going to end up on somebody's YouTube channel about what we talk about. So there you go.
Okay. It is what it is.
It is what it is. We ready. Okay, so first of all, let's just start off with first of all, was this week's episode better or one of the better ones in terms of at least just substance and like moving the plot forward? Let's just start there. How did you feel about all of the meat of this episode?
I felt it was very authentic and like a real look at, co-parenting and just entitlement and how, the bare minimum is expected to be rewarded.
Sure.
And as far as, moving the plot forward, I guess it could. The previews for next week didn't really show anything Lawrence related, but it definitely shows like what that nigga been up to. It shows.
It might be like the semi end of Lawrence until we get to like maybe the 8th or 9th episode. Like I feel like they kind of really captured what there is to capture about Lawrence. Ashley, your thoughts overall about the episode?
I think it was definitely a good episode. It gave us a lot that we could talk about because remember that first episode gave us nothing at all. So I definitely feel like overall, yes, it was a very well written because I felt it was relatable.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was shot very well. Like that two screens of them side by side, that was
I could have turned the TV off. I was like,
that was good. It was good. I mean, it gave a different perspective. So yeah, I think this was a good. I didn't like what they did with Kelly as usual, per usual.
Kelly always gets. I mean, I think she's hilarious, but she's just like the funny friend. Like
I loved her scene.
She's always going to give you the comedic relief, but I feel like she's so underutilized as a character. As compelling of a character she is, they really give her nothing.
Yes.
MD Terp says, I feel like this episode was a PSA on be careful who you procreate with. I don't know if it's the people that they procreated with that were the issue so much as the circumstances with under which they procreated. Because I think Lawrence in his own is a good enough guy. On paper, he's the right kind of guy that you want to have kids with. And I think Condola is also a good woman. On paper, it makes sense. But the circumstance completely was not an ideal circumstance. And, let's start off at the beginning. So the episode actually started off where Issa broke it off with Lawrence. And so this episode is actually a year prior to episode 2 in terms of the timeline. And then it went forward because last week's episode started off a year after the breakup. This week's episode goes back to the beginning of that year, that conversation. So we see Lawrence is in San Francisco. I got crap because I said he abandoned his baby. Okay, so he had to abandon his baby at that scene that we saw yet, right? So he's out, he's having a successful career. He's out on a date. The girl was like a total bitch. I don't know what her issue was. I mean, maybe Lawrence gives off fuckboy vibes, and that was just kind of the energy that she was giving off, but she was paying him just. He gets a text message. I think my baby was just born. Ashley, what was your reaction seeing how that played out? Go for it.
You know, first of all, I don't date niggas with kids. So the fact that he was on a whole ass date with her and he had a baby on the way and didn't say anything, it's like, bro, I get that, you know, certain things you don't talk about on a first date, but you having a baby on the way, I feel like that is a first date conversation. Like, I feel like,
well, that's, you know, what's funny, because when I was single, I would ask guys, do you have any kids? Do you have any kids whose paternity is in question? Do you have any kids that are presently in the womb right now? Like, I was that fucking technical, because people will leave some shit out. Now, I ain't got no kids. Meanwhile, somebody's 7 months pregnant. Or like, I ain't got no kids, but maybe this chick that told me she was pregnant 18 years ago has baby. I never bothered to check what happened with that. So yeah, you gotta, you have to take
really like ask questions. You have to ask, do you have a girlfriend? Do you have someone that would be upset because they believe you guys are in a relationship and you're on a date right now? It's just all these questions. That's a whole nother podcast.
Have you slept with your roommate? That's another one. Roommate, right? All kind of shit. You have to really, really be careful. But this ain't about dating first date questions. Yes, it's about Lawrence.
So I agree. I definitely think Oh Girl was kind of weird at first. It felt like something was missing that we didn't see. Like, did he piss her off before this scene, and that's why she was?
I think she was set up. I think that friends kind of hooked them up, and she was just kind of like
it was a blind date.
Yeah, like a blind date of sorts. That was what I got from it. Yeah,
she definitely came off kind of weird to me. But then he's at the table and he gets called or a text message that his baby is on the way. Like, did you not know she was in the hospital? Like, did you not know going on? So it was a lot of questions in that first scene. It was a lot.
Now, Season, obviously, like, the nurse let it out that the baby Elijah Mustafa Walker was born early. So it's not clear on how early. I mean, he was 6 pounds. Couldn't have been that early. He wasn't in the NICU or anything like that. So my guess is anywhere between 35 and 40 weeks, right? And so obviously with him living in San Francisco, and the baby being born early, he's not going to necessarily be on standby for his baby to be born a couple weeks early. But to me, the fact that he learned this through a text message just was an indicator to me of how hands-off he had been throughout the pregnancy. You know, that was the extent of notification that somebody felt was warranted that he got. What was your reaction? Was a text message thing? I mean, did he deserve more regardless of whether he was hands-on, or did that kind of give you a hint as to what level he was engaged with Condola throughout her pregnancy?
Well, for starters, just to comment on the date, I didn't think the date was being bitchy. I've been on dates where having conversations was like pulling teeth, like, oh my God, they give me something to work with. But, you know, she was there. She was set up. She might have been there for a free meal. But the whole text message in the middle of dinner and him, you know, he should have just excused himself and be like, oh, I'm having a family emergency. Telling a bitch on the first date, my baby was just born. If that don't make you look like the biggest asshole on the planet, premature or not, honey.
So she laughed it off like, haha, imagine that. Like, she thought he was joking.
She thought he was joking. Yeah. So it was definitely on him or the person who set her up on the date to let her know, like, this nigga got a baby on the way, you know? So I definitely think that I don't feel no type of way about him being notified through text message. I mean, we all know, I mean, well, me recently, you know what it's like to be laid up in the hospital with our baby just born and under whatever circumstances. We ain't on the fucking phone calling nobody. If you ain't there in the room, you getting a text message. So I think standard notification. Maybe he could have got a text message when she was on her way to the hospital to kind of give him a heads up. But text message, I don't think that was a bad thing, but it definitely indicates how involved he was throughout the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you guys in the comments chime in. Do you think? I mean, isn't it pretty obvious that Lawrence was like, not caring, not concerned? You know, like, did you get any ultrasound pictures? Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I just went through a pregnancy. I have the almost 8-month-old. Season is 28, about to be 29.
Weeks. Yeah.
28 weeks pregnant, about to be 29 weeks pregnant. So like this is fresh
and I
for
have
us.
A 3-year-old.
Yeah, you have 3. So like this is very fresh. Like so for me, this isn't triggering because it's my experience, but it's triggering because I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't even fathom any of the things that Condola is experiencing. And I could not relate or empathize in any way with Lawrence's perspective because I have a husband who's incredibly hands-on. So for anybody who's tempted to say, oh, this is y'all trying to, make black men look bad. I'm married to a black man. Caesar's married to a black man. Both of them are excellent, amazing black fathers. So this isn't about we think black men ain't shit. This is about we have black men that are amazing fathers. And this is the standard with which you conduct yourself if you are a present and a concerned father. And so it was so triggering to me just to see the apathy that he must have had for her throughout her pregnancy. And so he said he came there, he met the baby. I was shocked that he hadn't met her parent, her mom. He had met her sister. What the fuck? Like, okay, so did they just not have, I mean, this isn't COVID. COVID's not on the show. So did she not have obviously baby she must shower. Have had a baby shower. Like, did you not go to the baby shower? Did you not think, hey, maybe I should just have a lunch with them or have a dinner with them outside of a baby gathering just to get to know who the fuck my kid is going to be around? Like, I mean, was that shocking to you all? Or is this kind of like par for the course? Because
like I can't relate.
Yeah, no, I mean, so somebody on Twitter, I have my Twitter up. I don't usually have it up, but now I can see it. Somebody said, did she invite him? Condola seemed like she didn't want him to be there. I think she seemed like she was a little surprised that he was there, and that she seemed to me focused on Elijah, not so much on like when you just had a baby. You're not rolling out the red carpet for somebody. It's all about you and it's all about your baby. You have people coming in every 5 seconds to check on you. She's nursing her baby. So obviously you're focused on that. I thought she was actually really gracious towards him, given that she went through the process without him by her side. And, he's popping up like, hey, I'm here. And it's like, okay, you want a fucking cookie? Congratulations. I don't know. That was my reaction. Ashley, what was your reaction to Condola's energy? And wait, before you say that, the 33 says Lawrence and the mother not meeting was very weird. MD Terps is like, clock that too, Reese. How do you not meet the people who are going to be influential in your child's life? You're going to be attached to them in some form or life. Okay, yeah. So Ashley, what's just your reaction to Condola's energy in the delivery room? Did you get what did you get from that?
Well, I thought it was definitely weird that he hadn't known who the mother and the sister was, because I'm thinking, where's the baby shower at? When she's had 9 months of being pregnant. So at that point, you've never been over to her house. You've never been there, and the mother was there, or the sister was there. Like, they seem pretty involved. It's not like it's an estranged mom or something like that.
Yeah, so, exactly.
I definitely thought that was really weird. And it was just a very awkward scene, the way he walked in. I think her energy in the delivery room seemed pretty appropriate. I mean, it didn't seem like she did not want him there, but it just didn't seem like it mattered whether or not he was there. So it didn't seem like that was inappropriate. I will say this, at the beginning, when they first had her coming on screen and her scenes, I felt like she was just being a bitch, because hear me out. They hadn't given us any type of prereq to her behavior. You get what I'm saying? They didn't show a scene of Lawrence being an asshole. It was kind of just automatically her being distant, her not saying nothing, her choosing the name without him. All of these things is coming up with her. But then it was like, as it progressed, okay, Lawrence, I see you still on that. You just a fuck boy. You always been a fuck boy. You ain't changed. Your decisions are still very selfish, because you are in San Francisco and you got a whole ass baby that's on the way. Like, are you sacrificing your job to make sure you're here to raise your child because you popping? So at first, not just the delivery scene, but it started with her naming the baby and him not knowing the name. It was just like, damn.
Well, we have some comments. Scotty says it wasn't real for him until the baby was born and he was low-key mad at Condola. Clearly it was not real until that moment. Let's see. Leah says, I'm thinking Lawrence wasn't invited to the shower, probably because he had not been involved and she assumed he wouldn't care. I don't believe for a second he wasn't involved. It's obvious that Condola at least did what Lawrence said, which I will get to in a moment because I want to go especially off about that comment. But Season, your reaction to Ashley and kind of what we've been talking about.
I mean, to me, if a man is not involved when you're pregnant and he does not see the changes that your body goes through, the hormones, if he ain't there to clean your house and help you put up a crib and meet your mama, make sure you meet his parents, what fucking say so do he need to have? Exactly. Like that, he picked up and moved to a whole different part of the state. So to me, a woman should mentally prepare from that point on to do shit by herself. But I think I even got the vibe that, Condola wasn't ready. I don't think she was ready for that. I think, she kind of was cruising through her pregnancy and whatever. But I don't think she was ready to deal with Lawrence and his part-time dad bullshit. And when I think women become mothers when we find out we're pregnant. Men become dads when the baby is born. Mm-hmm. So, and that's not in 100% of the case.
Generally,
he's been off doing his whole thing, and working, and then at that dinner is when it dawned on him, like, oh shit, I have a baby, I gotta go. And we saw that moment, like, so I definitely don't think that Condola was being rude to him. I think she was trying to process, like, okay, he's been absent this entire time. Now it's my responsibility to adjust to being a mother with this completely dependent human being and this motherfucker who want to come in on the weekends and has some say. So, and then her sister's in her ear, which could be very irritating.
But, that level of engagement wasn't necessary from the sister.
So she has the support, but she's also still trying to navigate this whole baby mama situation. So it's like, my heart just went out to Condola, and it really just, but if it wasn't, it was just crystal clear that she followed his lead while she was pregnant in terms of keeping him involved. And then, like, it was a culture shock to both of them. Like, oh shit,
I mean, and we have a couple of comments. Somebody said, that is the effect of having a baby with a stranger. But Lawrence is not a stranger. They were in a relationship. The relationship didn't work out. It was actually Lawrence that wanted to be a little bit more serious than Condola did. But at the end of the day, let me just level set here. Yes, Condola and Lawrence had a slip up, right? I mean, they did not plan on having a child. Condola slept with the person who lived in the same city with her. It wasn't like she flew down up to San Francisco and decided to have a one-night stand with Lawrence. And so even in the spectrum of things that could be possible, I'm sure in the near term, she wasn't thinking, if I get knocked up, I'm going to be raising a baby with somebody who lives across the state. So there is that part. There is a certain part of this that Condola brought upon herself, because when you lay down with somebody, you always have that possibility of having a baby. And so if you have sex with a person and you get pregnant and you're not in a relationship with that person, there is a very high probability of that going from sugar to shit. It's a very high probability of being in the situation that you find yourself in, that she finds herself in with Lawrence. I don't think it's right to try to put it off as like, well, she chose to have that baby, so what did she expect? They chose, both of them together, to have sex, which resulted in a baby, which is a possibility when that happens. And so I think that part of the difficulty is self-inflicted, but that is her burden. That should not be transferred to the baby, though. And once the baby is there, then it becomes everybody's burden to make sure that the baby's needs are met. And that means communication. That means that their physical needs, that means their emotional needs, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I understand how people could be not so sympathetic to Condola, but I don't understand how anybody can make excuses for Lawrence, because at the end of the day, that's still his baby. And he's living a fabulous life in San Francisco. They showed him popping bottles. He's blowing off, going down to visit his child. Oh, sorry, I got off work late. He was at home. And he looked at his luggage, right? Did I imagine that? Did he not look at his bag that was already
right
packed?
there by the door and said, yeah, no.
It said, holla at you when I motherfucking holla at you. That's fucked up. Period. Full stop. That's not, oh, I'm at work. Because I got a deadline.
Condola can't stop being a mom. She can't wake up and say, I don't feel like going to get the baby or feeding the baby.
And that's where the disconnect is for me, is that he wanted such a fucking cookie for doing literally, I won't even say the bare minimum, because he wasn't even physically in the same city with his child hardly ever, during this time. Maybe on the weekends. Okay, fine. I say on the weekend, hardly ever. But just the fact that he blew off his visit when his bag was packed and he was already at home, and all he had to do was hop in a fucking Uber, tells me that he probably made a habit out of it. You know what I'm saying? And her sister's reaction. And so there's just so much just foul shit. But to me, what took the cake is when they had their first doctor's appointment. And Lawrence, I'm like, Lawrence, did you fucking download a baby app? Did you pick up a motherfucking book? Why are you asking questions in this hysterical and this elevated emotional way about, the baby? Like, you don't have any fucking idea how this works. And I was so pissed when he made the comment about when she said, breastfeeding is going okay. And he's like, what? Is there anything that we can do? And da-da-da-da. What are you going to do to put some milk in her titties? What are you going to fucking do? Girl. Like, I was so pissed off at that because, shit, we breastfed and, it's just like, it's stressful. It is so stressful when you first have a child and your milk hasn't come in, or you're worried about your milk production, and you're doing brewer's yeast and milk mama and all these fucking milk supplements. People say breastfeeding is free. No, it's not. Like, all these milk supplements and all kind of shit, and all you're trying to do is figure out how to feed your baby. And like, that was just so emotionally unintelligent that it was just like, it was just like, so you haven't even bothered to do the bare minimum to figure out what this parenting shit is like.
Or talk to her about it. Have they not had any conversations?
Yeah.
Since his child was born? Oh, how is he eating? What's going on? Like, are they not having any? Okay, CJ, bye. But he's like, they clearly,
CJ, bye. First of all, bye. Yeah, hold on. Let me just say this. You missed it earlier, CA. I have a whole ass baby with a black man, and so I have fucking standards for how black men and fathers should fucking conduct themselves. If you don't like it, sit your motherfucking ass the fuck out.
Yeah, you're talking.
Period. Bye. Hasta luego. Adios. Ciao. In every fucking language. I'm not doing that. It's a fictional show. Don't come in here talking shit about our fucking perspective when I'm sitting up here responding to what we see on the fucking show. If you think it's okay, fine, go join the Deadbeat Dads Club. And CJ, you can go with them too, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, Susan, carry on. No, because I hate when motherfuckers do that kind of shit. Did I write the show? No, we're responding to what's on the show. If you think that it's okay for him to act like that, then yeah, baby, this ain't the chat for you. Goodbye.
Same for you.
Anyways,
No.
next.
There aren't any,
because
like,
it was, you know, for me when he went into that room for the doctor's appointment, and the doctor asked about breastfeeding. His first thing that he said was very accusatory, as if she was doing something wrong.
Right.
That's the issue. It's not the fact that he asks questions. Of course you ask questions, but your questions should be tailored to, well, okay, breastfeeding, they're coming from her. Are you okay? Like, why couldn't he ask that? Why couldn't his question be towards checking on her? His question was, it made it seem like Lawrence feels like because he's not there, she not doing a good enough job. He coming in and saving the day every time he come in. He's in the doctor's office now, so he want to be at every appointment because I need to make sure my son. Come on, bro. You ain't been around this whole entire time, and now you want to step your ass to this one fucking appointment and think you about to be saving shit. Like, don't ask questions that come off like you're accusing me as if I'm being a bad mom, or I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, or I can't handle this on my own. I've been handling this on my own since the day I found out I was pregnant. Don't come in here acting like that. So no, it's not a problem with him asking questions. Absolutely. How else is he going to learn aside from, oh, maybe reading a fucking book? That's how he also
asking the mother.
Or asking the fucking mom. It's like, dude, ain't nobody going against Lawrence, but Lawrence is a fuckboy. He's been a fuckboy since season 1 when he was laid on that fucking couch with no job. And now he abandoned his fucking kid and went off to the bay. Like
that. I mean, I'm sorry. My husband was here the first week I had my child, and he saw my struggles with breastfeeding. He saw me go to a lactation consultant. So he's been there. I can't relate to this show at all. I just know how it should be when a woman has a child. So, he's clearly not communicating with her, and he's confused. He's sitting up in these appointments, don't know shit about birthing no babies, don't know nothing about no damn baby.
You weren't even in the room when the baby was born.
Yeah, so it's just like, chill, dog. Let the mama do the talking, and I'll fill you in since you haven't sought this information out prior to. Like, let me figure this shit out.
And here's the other problem that I have. Okay. And so the problem with Insecure, right? So Tiffany had a baby. The only arc that they had for Tiffany and her baby is how bad she struggled and how she had postpartum. And it was like really,
it was like 15 minutes of a
it wasn't really. So this is the most that they've shown a perspective of a woman having a baby on the show, which is something that a lot of women experience. And it was told almost entirely from Lawrence's perspective of him wanting a fucking cookie, and he's not even there. You know what I'm saying? I would have liked for it to have had, like, there should have just been a Condola episode. Like, if there was just a Condola episode, I would have appreciated that. So then what you have is you have a bunch of fucking assholes who want to sit up there and be pissed off at people responding to what we saw on screen, which to me was unacceptable. It was unacceptable. What we saw from Derek is what we should have seen. We saw Derek be very supportive of Tiffany in her season. We saw Derek be very compassionate towards Tiffany when she ran off, be very concerned about him. We saw Derek step it up. And so there needs to be some space for that. But what we saw was, to me, terrible.
And it was just the reason for Lawrence now, where he's like, bro, chill. You don't want to stress her out. You want to make this as easy as possible, whatever. Like, he's trying to be the voice of reason, because clearly Lawrence ain't even discussed this damn baby with his parents. So it's like he's not discussing anything with anybody. He's just waiting. He's just expecting Condola to do everything.
Yeah,
but I can see why he's not talking to his mama. His mama.
That whole what did she say? I wrote it down. She said his
forehead is baptized. What about the rest of them?
No, but it was
she was like, I'm gonna take him to my bitch. Shut up. How about that?
She made an invite, and you gave up your baby soul. I was like, really? Mama Walker.
First of all, you knew
They
your
are
son
terrible.
had a fucking baby on the way. You should have had that pregnant girl over to your house for some lunch, dinner, something. You just as fucking raggedy as your son, bitch. Okay.
That
And
is
then you
true.
got your retarded ass uncle running through the damn christening, saying stupid shit and handing out $5. Like, cut. Y'all gotta go. Baby's tired.
Yeah, so let's fast forward to a couple of things. So we see that time goes on. Condola is struggling, but of course, they just show her being worn out the whole time, and it just more.
You be tired as fuck.
I know she's tired of shit. And Lawrence, aside from his flashes of, she's not letting me do this or she's not letting me do that. I mean, he's off living his best life in San Francisco. He's having butt naked ass orgasmic sex.
Closing deals, popping bottles.
Yeah, just life is grand. And
Great.
Condola, not so much. Now, again, that's what Condola signed up for. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is with that. This isn't poor Condola, like she can't be out there sucking and fucking like she wants to because she just had a baby. That's what she signed up for. And good for her for making that decision. She definitely gave me, look, I'm over 35, my biological clock is ticking. I'm gonna have this baby, whether I gotta do it on my own or not. Tease. Yeah. But I still think she was very accommodating to him. I mean, he told her keep me posted. And then now all of a sudden you want to have like a blow by blow of everything. Like he was very wishy-washy with the energy. Let's talk about the birthday party though. What did you think, Season? I know when he came back and he had the solids, and this is very much mom talk. So I understand that some people, maybe they haven't had a baby recently or they don't, like maybe this isn't relatable to them. But I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that he gave
her solids. Gave his baby solids. That is 100% not his decision whatsoever. If up until that point the baby had not been introduced to solids or the discussion has not even been had. I mean, he said that the doctor said it's okay, but so what? There's still a day-to-day process, and you're not there. So no, you should have asked, has the baby had carrots yet? Has the baby had table food yet? Like, he should have asked. You don't just jump up and feed, a baby food. So I thought Condola's reaction was warranted. I mean, it's like, what the fuck is you doing? What you mean you gave my baby some damn food?
Yeah.
And it sounds so remedial, but again, you just don't. That's a no-no. That's a big ass no-no.
Ashley, a common thing that Lawrence was saying was she's controlling, and she's making all these decisions. When you have a child, there are a lot of decisions that you have to make. And if a person is not there physically, then there are a lot of decisions you have to make on your own. You don't have time to necessarily stop every single time and send a text message and be like, hey, well, are you cool with this? Are you cool with that? Did you find her to be controlling or just taking control because baby gotta live? Like what was your take on that?
I think I didn't take it as controlling. I took it as she's a mom.
Right.
Like it came off like she's a mom. A mom is worried about 20 things at once.
Yeah.
And if you are not present in that baby's life as often as the mom is present in that baby's life, then yeah, I agree. You don't have a say so. Now, granted, you are the father. If I feel I want to, come to you and ask you things and get your opinion on something, yes. But the fact that he is not a fully present father. He only comes in on a weekend when he feels like getting up and coming in on a weekend. She did not come off as controlling. She came off like, this is my baby. And I am responsible to keep this baby alive. If anything happens to this baby, you'll be here for a couple of days and then you'll go back to your life that's baby free. So yeah, no, I don't think she was controlling at all. I think his reaction though was kind of like mad aggressive. Like I thought he was going to drop the baby.
Look.
When he pulled back, I thought he was about to drop that baby because he pulled back, he knocked the table over and it was like, you doing all of this? You're doing all of this at this party, and you're not even around all the time. You're not even gonna be here later on for us to argue about this because you're gonna be going back on the plane. So yeah, nah, he was way out of pocket. But I did like the fact that they had Derek come and kind of take him to the side, just asked him to see boxes, didn't get involved in the conversation, just pulled him away and then checked him on it. That's one thing.
Yeah, and he said that the baby can feel the energy. And I mean, it's very obvious that their relationship, regardless of who want to be at fault for what, is not good. Like, that's not tenable. Like, for you to be like that and for there always be that tension, and give me the baby and this, that, and the other. Like, I feel like it was inappropriate for Lawrence to even argue about that. You have to have emotional intelligence, and you have to realize when somebody feels uncomfortable, like, just diffuse the situation. Like, we can have this discussion later or whatever else. I mean, in a perfect world, you would collaborate. I mean, my husband and I, we talk about things. Okay, what is the plan for this? What are we going to ask the doctor about? What are we going to do for this? What are we going to do for that? Like, we make a decision together on everything. But we live in the same house. We're married. That's the ideal situation when you don't have the ability to be that close to somebody. Somebody's making some executive decisions, and that happens to be the person who's the primary parent.
Can I say this real quick? He did say, remember when, first of all, I love that they brought back his homeboy, Comedy Relief.
He's funny. Yeah,
he is so funny. And one thing Lawrence said was, she's pushing this narrative that I'm an ain't shit father.
To who?
So it's like you already have this complex. So when you come around, you're trying to go above and beyond in this one moment, so you can make sure that you are convincing yourself you're a good father. But it's like, your attitude,
he was projecting behavior. And he really knew.
Like a man who cheats on you and be like, I know all your friends think I ain't shit. Well, guess what? You ain't shit, baby.
A whole other pregnant, of course.
But I might not be out here embarrassing myself telling everybody who listens that you cheat on me. So that's like, I don't
and remember when Uncle Ronnie said, "Oh, you a good father," and this and the other. Did Condola say, like, "Oh, hell nah"? Like, when they took the pictures at the baptism, like, I feel like she's been very gracious to him. MD Turp says, "I absolutely agree with that. You don't just give a baby who's died, you know nothing about any all random food." Okay, let's move on. So, Lawrence and Condola. I'm not even.
Wait. One thing. Don't you think it's weird that what's Issa and what's her friend
Melanie?
Molly
at the party.
I thought that was weird, but I guess maybe they just didn't want to make it about that, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was weird. Some people don't go to little kids' birthday parties,
But why was Condola invited in the first place?
Well, people invite kids, and so it's like, oh, you have a baby. I mean, even though I think Elijah is too young.
Tiffany, didn't Issa and Condola meet through? Am I making that up? How'd they meet?
I thought they met through business. I don't remember exactly who introduced her, but at any rate, it did seem weird to me. That was a plot hole that they weren't there, especially if Kelly is there. So that was definitely a little strange, especially for Issa. I mean, for Molly. Like, maybe Issa wouldn't come because but Molly seems like she would have come to something like that. Leah says she was a friend of Tiffany's. Remember, she and Lawrence met at the. That's right.
See, now I ain't no expert on the show, but I remember that.
Okay.
They met at Tiffany's baby shower.
We're not gonna that comment. We gonna just.
I'm not even gonna go there because people gonna have me acting like an asshole, and I'm not the asshole Lawrence is. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about the big night, right? So. Lawrence, I don't understand the whole crib thing. I'm confused. Why
do he have a crib in his house, nigga? That baby is not going to the bay.
Okay, but that's fine.
How delusional right? He is. He is so delusional.
I was very confused by that, but that's fine. But whatever arrangements they were gonna make, Lawrence was going to have Elijah overnight. He flew down. Elijah was in an elevated state, and Condola, was, obviously a little flustered too. And Lawrence walks in and he tries to calm the baby down. And, she didn't give him a lot of time. To be fair, she did not give him a lot of time. But anyway, things come to a head. She doesn't feel comfortable with Lawrence taking Elijah, and she blurts out, "I don't trust you." I'll start with you, Ashley. Lawrence is the father. And what's wrong with him having a crib?
Baby, the crib is in the Bay. The baby is in LA. That baby ain't going to the Bay. It's nothing wrong with him having a crib. It just shows how delusional he is to think that the baby is going to be going with him to the Bay. That's not how it works.
That's just not how it works, especially with the breastfeeding mother.
No.
It would have made more sense if he would have flew his ass down to LA at any time and
helped build the crib at the baby's house, like, where the baby lives.
That baby ain't coming to your house.
And most babies, technically babies usually sleep in a bassinet when they're newborns, but
that
okay.
Baby ain't gonna use that crib. That baby ain't gonna breathe on that damn crib.
But for visual drama, they had the crib. Whatever. We've moved on from that. The bottom line is, I was going to ask you, Ashley. Lawrence is Elijah's father.
Yes.
If he has part custody, maybe but he doesn't have custody.
No.
Like did you miss the part where he was like saying, "I'm not going to make it down to visit my child"? Like he had his bags packed. He was at home. He was like, "I'll see you next time." Like if they have part-time custody, this will be a completely different discussion. It would be Lawrence is doing what he's supposed to do. They weren't in a relationship, and but they worked out a custodial arrangement, and it is what it is. I promise you it will be a totally different discussion. That's not what we saw on the show. That don't have nothing to do with us. We didn't write the show. But Ashley, do you think that Condola should have just kind of like sucked it up? The fact that she, should she have just let him like prove himself, like, or do you think that because she didn't have that trust with him up to that point that she was justified in saying, "You know what, I don't want him to go with you," even though he is her father?
I think she was 1,000% justified saying, I don't feel like the baby should go with you. First of all, he walked in the house and the baby was going berserk, right? The baby was crying. He came in and he took the baby thinking that he was going to again save the situation rather than asking what's going on. Should I feed him? Like, you're not asking about what's happening in the moment. You're just assuming you're going to come in and take over and that's just it. You're going to walk out the door with a crying baby. So I think for Condola, like, we have to remember Condola was with him and she knew he still had feelings for Issa, right? Wasn't he still like dealing with Issa and was trying to get back with her, but had Condola?
I don't know if,
right?
No, I don't think that like, so when they were together, I think that if I recall correctly, y'all in comments can remind me, I feel like they broke up because he was more serious about her than she was about him. When he came back into the picture with Issa, he wanted to get with Issa, but he was still hitting up Condola. And so I can't imagine that she was like, "Oh, you're going back and forth between the two of us." I didn't get that vibe. I especially
don't think Issa gave that off. Like, "Oh, you still hollering at Condola?"
Because I'm trying to understand where her lack of trust is coming before the baby. Like, his wishy-washiness would absolutely make me not trust and want my baby to go with you. You're not a stable enough father in the baby's life for me to feel comfortable with you having this baby overnight. And I'm already in a flustered situation. Maybe if the baby was calm when he came in, it was a more peaceful environment. It would have been a more peaceful transition of the baby going with him. I think that would be different. But the fact that it was just such an already flustering night, he come in acting like he about to do something. It's like, bro, I don't trust you. Where I feel Lawrence went wrong is when she said, "I don't trust you," he didn't try to have a conversation about where is this coming from. And I don't know if that's even possible. I mean, plausible in a situation, but like, he didn't even ask or care about where it's coming from. All I saw through this episode was that he don't give a fuck about her. He halfway give a fuck about his baby because he doesn't want to look like an ain't shit father. And at the end of the day, this is all a selfish ploy for him. Like I don't see him. Like I know some really good dads. I know some really good men that are married, and I know these type of men exist. So the fact that Lawrence is this like half-ass fucking dad and wants all this credit and excited when his uncle tell him he a good dad, it's like, dude, he's not. He really isn't. And this scene proved that he is just emotionally unstable and that he still resents her for still having this fucking baby.
Okay, Susan, your reaction.
I don't think he doesn't give a fuck about his baby. I think he is just completely unaware of what Condola is going through. He is not sympathetic to her at all. He is only like it's just like almost like it's a game to him. Like, oh, let me show up on the weekends and be the best dad, and let me try to calm him down. Let me take him for the night. Like it's not clicking to him. Like, so I don't think he doesn't care. I just think he's detached in a way. Him not being there day in and day out and seeing all that she goes through, the ups and downs, the hormones, the emotions, like he just doesn't get it. It's not clicking to him. And clearly it took some fucking near-death experience on a plane for him to realize, like, okay, maybe I'm missing something here. But when he said, when he like insinuated that he would go to court, I was like, bet, like, do that. Let's see.
How would that work? That would not work out for him. He lives in a whole other.
He would probably still have the same arrangements, which is weekends. Yeah. But when he said that, I was like, you should do that. That's exactly what you should do, so that you can have a plan set in place to where you have to take care of your kid. And Condola does have to kind of let go. Because I remember I didn't leave my child with his own daddy overnight to go away somewhere until he was about 8 months. And we didn't, it wasn't a lack of trust. It's just, I didn't leave my damn baby. So, you know, I definitely feel like the argument, it could have been de-escalated if he just knew how wired she was at that moment and how it literally, her being flustered had nothing to do with him. She was already flustered and felt, like all over the place before he even walked in the door. And the fact that he couldn't read the room and not escalate the situation, like, that just, again, it shows how disconnected he is and how he really needs to tap in to a newborn, a mother with an infant, and all. He's just disconnected. So, and then he does have the back and forth. He does have people telling him, oh, you're doing a good job. You're doing a great job. And then he gets this vibe from Condola that he really isn't doing much. And Condola's opinion is what's going to matter here. That's the mother of your child. So I definitely think he's selfish, but I don't think he don't give a fuck about the baby.
I think he half-ass care. I don't think he just doesn't at all, but I think he half-ass care. Like, he don't call and check on that baby. He's not calling and FaceTiming and being he's not doing none of that. He cares when he wants to feel like he's not an ain't shit nigga or ain't shit daddy. That's when he put in all that effort. When his role is in question of shit, like, nah, he half-ass care about that baby.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people don't understand that whether you are physically present at all times or not, parenting is full time. And so there's a way to still parent your child, even though you're not physically present. It's being engaged. It's being in tune with what your child is going through, what the parent is going through, and a number of things, and taking initiative. Like, you have to take initiative. It can't just be waiting for somebody to give you a list of things that you have to do. I'm going to go to some of the comments. James says, well, Melanie said it's a Lawrence bias. That's on Issa. Whoever wrote the show.
We didn't write the show.
Let's see. James said Lawrence could cure cancer, as some people would say, but look how arrogant he is curing cancer.
Yeah, he can still be an asshole and cure cancer.
Absolutely. Doctors can be a fucking asshole.
Yeah, have you never met a doctor? I know several. They're
okay. Well, that would be very fabulous.
You thought you ate us up with that comment.
You did.
If fictional Lawrence cured cancer, that would be an amazing feat for humanity.
We would.
Absolutely.
But that's not what we're talking about here. Lawrence is popping bottles, having orgasms, and chilling. That's what he's doing. He's not curing cancer.
Is changing shitty diapers.
Leah says, I think the trust statement was related to him parenting. He hasn't been around and doesn't have enough experience with the baby for her to be comfortable with him taking the baby off by himself, especially while the baby is fussy. You know, obviously this is a fictional show. It's all about drama. But, you know, if this were written by people who were emotionally intelligent about parenting, an alternative could be like, well, can I stay here? Like, Condola is a single woman. So, I mean, like I said, it's a fictional show, right? So, obviously, it's not about solving.
I was wondering, why was he taking the baby? He was going to take the baby to a hotel overnight?
Where was he going?
I don't know where he was going. He had a car seat, but I don't know about a bassinet. I don't know what the sleeping arrangements was. But you know, if this were a show that were actually about parenting and shit like that, instead of just a show that's about drama, then he could have stayed at her place. But I'm not going to go into all the alternatives of coulda, woulda, shoulda, because it's a fictional fucking show.
The ball
I definitely agree.
But
Condola did communicate better.
Leah says a legal arrangement benefits them both. I think a legal arrangement is a great idea when you're unmarried. You know, it's a great idea for child support purposes because people can say, oh, you never gave me any child support 18 years later and you got to pay back child support. I don't see anything wrong with a legal arrangement. I think how you approach it tone wise is important. I'm gonna take the baby whether you like it or not. That's not how you approach it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's put some stuff down on paper just so that we're clear, blah, blah, blah. Even still, you still have to make an effort to engender trust and account and just comfort with the other parent instead of trying to force it down your throats. Well, the law says I have this right. You could get further if you actually put in the effort to make a person trust you as opposed to just trying to go through the courts, because that's a lengthy process. Anyways, MD Term says Lawrence definitely on some fuckboy shit. Money says you cannot treat the other parent as if you own the child. No, you cannot treat the other. You can't treat the parent
in custody of a child. You own them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about owning. It's about protecting the child. Like, you want to feel comfortable with whoever your child is with. If the father hasn't done enough up until that point to make you feel comfortable, that's an indictment against him. But also, you know, maybe there are some things she could have done. But ultimately, I don't blame her if she didn't feel comfortable.
Melanie, baby, do you have kids? You got kids, girl? Let us know where this coming from.
MD Terms, I agree. Condola can communicate her feelings better, but the things said about Lawrence are warranted. Now, this isn't about Condola's feelings, right? And that's where I think the show has really failed. I think women who have had babies or who have gone through this, because none of these shows, the Tiffany shows or scenes, and this are not about the woman's feelings except for reacting to Lawrence, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it's inferred she's stressed out. It's inferred that she's tired and things like that, and overwhelmed, and like maybe she bit off more than she thought, and maybe it's tougher than it thought, but it's not verbalized. And so because of that, it looks like her communication sucks. And what can we do? That's a fictional show. Let me see. I knew women would be bothered by him having sex. You guys only mentioned that 7 times. He's supposed to be a monk, I guess. He's either have sex or be a monk. There's no in between there. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
There's it was put in the
your baby.
It was put in the show. It was put in the show.
It was shown to. It was put in the show to show the difference between his daily life and Condola's. We didn't make it up. We
did not write the show.
We know what y'all baby daddies is out there doing when you know with your baby nigga. Y'all ain't sitting around jacking off.
This ain't the first time that we've seen or know of a baby daddy out there having sex.
Yeah,
while his baby mama's raised in his head. This is not.
We mentioned it several times, and that bothers James. Lawrence is out there fucking. Lawrence is out there fucking. Lawrence is out there getting his fuck. Lawrence is out there fucking. He is boning and screwing and fucking. He is boning, screwing and fucking. He is boning, screwing and fucking.
Lord,
and having orgasms and fucking. Like, What is put in the show for a reaction? Okay, you seem more triggered by us mentioning it than we're triggered by it. It's not that serious. Anyway, so as you mentioned, season Lawrence has this near-death experience. I wonder if the baby crying kind of maybe, I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, if the baby crying maybe made him realize like, oh shit, imagine doing all of this with a baby on this plane. I would be losing my shit. I don't know.
He had little tears in his eyes and everything. I said, what's this? What's going on?
Yeah. Turbulence is scary. So I don't know if it was like near death or if it was just, everything coming together. But we probably won't see any resolution on the other side of this phone call. But the good news is, for people who are Team Lawrence, that Lawrence did apologize. For what? I don't know.
Mature.
But he admitted that it wasn't working, which is what we've been saying. And he asked what can I do? Now, I did take issue with the fact that he said, what can we do? Because I'm like, why did she have to figure this out? But then I said, you know what? She did kind of put herself in this position too. So it's on her to figure out what they can both do together. They have to become a team. It's not about who's at fault and who put who in what situation. The baby is there. They got to figure the shit out. Any last comments on these two? Ashley, take it away.
Lawrence is trash, bro. I don't care. Y'all can say I'm being an angry Black woman. I don't give a fuck because Lawrence is trash. I feel like he went ahead and took this job. He knew that this baby was on the way. He clearly wasn't there, right? Because he clearly has resentment that she kept the baby in the first place.
Yeah,
that's some underlying resentment. That's why he probably wasn't there during the pregnancy. And he is out there living his best life, which is fine. He's a single man living in a city. He doesn't have his kid with him, so he has a lot more free time.
Yes. Lawrence is fucking.
So his money, he's probably sending her some money. That's fine, but he's not present in that baby's life. This nigga's out on dates and shit, having a good time. He's fucking. So,
Lawrence is fucking.
Fuck it up. They really are showing us what a fucking trash ass nigga look like, and how they can be very manipulative as well. Because I think Lawrence was pretty manipulative.
He was flipping that shit.
So
I think Lawrence is just selfish. I think that he's looking at it from an image perspective, and it's not about an image. It's about an actual human being that has needs, and it's not about ego. And I feel like he was very ego driven. Now, season, this was interesting. Leah says the producer/writer said on Twitter that this episode was to test Condola, saying last season that she didn't need Lawrence. He could be as involved as much or as little as he wanted. She did say, and like I said earlier, she likely didn't realize how tough it would be. He also said that it was about Lawrence needing to own his part. Now, going back to what I said earlier, if it was supposed to be about Condola, like I'll show Condola how hard it is, then have it be from her perspective. Then don't shortchange that perspective. Don't make it all about like Condola is silent or Condola is getting 2 or 3 words and it's all about Lawrence's feelings. Like I think that there would have been that would have been an interesting take, is to do an episode from her perspective. As far as Lawrence needing to realize needing to own his part. Yeah, he definitely did, but it took him 29 minutes and 47 seconds before
in a damn near plane crash.
Before it clicked to Condola probably somewhere about 6 weeks pregnant. So there's an imbalance there in terms of when it clicks on who needs who. Like I'm sure it wasn't a revelation to Condola that this fucking sucks and I have this baby with this guy who's not here. But it really didn't click to Lawrence until he realized that he can't just swoop in and be super dad when he feels like it and then swoop the fuck back out. Like it was fine when he didn't have to swoop in. It was fine when he was like, my bags are packed, I'm at home, but I'm not coming to see my baby this weekend. Like that part is cool, but the part where like now you're here and now you want to just come and go with your baby as you please, and it don't really work like that. You know what I'm saying? So the going part and the coming part, you could do the coming part at your own leisure, but the going part is the other part. James says, y'all act like it was a montage of him effing girls. Literally, that's the only thing he's talked. Like, he says we're triggered, but we're only fucking with you, James. Like, we don't care. You seem to be more concerned about that. If you have
James, baby, do you got children? Because your homegirl Melanie done left. She must not have no kids.
Melanie has clocked out. She's like, take the chapter.
She must not have no legs to stand on. So, James, is you holding it down for the baby daddy?
I don't know. I'm sure Tariq Nasheed or something like that is doing Bishop, what is his name? Boyce Watkins. Somebody is probably doing an Insecure recap and probably talking about how evil Condola is. Yeah. That is probably more your speed. Yeah. But anyways, MD Terp says there is some real low expectation having MFers in some of these comments. Leah says, my final thought, I just kept thinking how glad I was Issa removed herself from all this drama. Now, if there's a takeaway, Issa is 100% redeemed in this situation, because you know what happens when you're with somebody who has a baby on the way. You look like a fucking asshole if he looks like an asshole, you know, for as much
y'all as laid up fucking
second
house crying with the baby mama, right, James? That's how it works.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
The only way Issa could not look like an asshole for Lawrence not being there for Elijah is if Issa got knocked up. Then it would have been like, hey, look, I got my own fucking baby to worry about. Yeah, we're in the same boat. But since she bounced, which was good for her, you know, he gets like an asshole on his own. Because, you know, then it's like, oh, how you with a man and he just had a baby and he ain't even doing it. Right. You know, because, you know, they love to shame women for the decisions of their mate. Oh, you with somebody, he got all them kids, he ain't taking
care of woman is you.
Yeah, it's like, okay, but how is that my fault? But okay, so I wonder if men have to defend women with people who have kids that they ain't taking care of. I don't ever see people coming to those women defense, because women get fried up all the fucking time because they with somebody who got multiple kids and baby mamas and shit like that. Anyway, so Issa definitely did the right thing. That is 100%. Season, final thoughts on this, and then I'm gonna talk about the previews.
I mean, final thoughts is I just hope for the best for this baby, this fictional baby that doesn't exist. I hope these fictional parents get their shit together, because it is hard being a new mom, you know, and that shit it's not easy. So to have a man coming in and out, you know, demanding this and that, not even hearing you out, not even checking in during the week, all this and that, like, that's just, it's too much. It's a lot. So
yeah,
you know, their conversation at the end, hopefully it works out. But yes, I am glad Issa has removed herself, because no woman deserves to be dealing with this kind of shit. Like, who wants to do that? Like, seriously.
No.
But no. Yeah, and I do. Like, I guess I kind of see where the writer or whatever the fuck was doing. Like, Condola did say that, like, oh, you know, she gave him the speech I would expect a woman to give a man who's not with that man. Like, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm keeping it. I'm not going to have any expectations of you, but I would like for you to be there. Like, you don't want to come straight out the gate like, this your baby and you finna be taking care of this baby. And it's a defense mechanism, you know.
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. Yeah.
So I don't,
because he sure was about to hit her with a like, so you keeping it, like, you know.
Yeah,
he was like, work the fuck out that baby. Show, that's what his attitude was.
Yeah. To dedicate a whole show to humbling Condola, that's some whack ass shit. Like, but if we get to walk away from this with Lauren taking some responsibility and maturing and seeing his child as an actual human being with needs, and his baby mother as a human being with needs, then maybe Insecure might do some justice. I don't have faith in that, but
yeah, I don't either. Laconia says Condola doesn't get off this easily. She's the one who told Lawrence he could be as involved as he wants. I don't think she's getting off easily. I think.
Did y'all see Lawrence scene fucking while she was sitting there getting thrown up on? She ain't getting off easy. How?
What's fucking?
And sucking and fucking and sucking and fucking and sucking and fucking and sucking and fucking and sucking and fucking. I don't think
that report us to the YouTube HR.
How? Explain to me how Condola is getting off easily and Lawrence is out there fucking.
She raising that baby.
She tired. She is motherfucking tired.
She had the same braid. She gotta hear bullshit from her old ghetto ass sister.
She had
Kiki.
Come on.
She gotta hear bullshit from her old ghetto ass sister. Her mama probably talking shit. He got his parents over there probably hating on her too, man.
Oh, you know that Condola is being
dragged through the fucking mud.
Being dragged. Okay. But in terms of are we letting her off easily? No, I think you came in late. I made it clear earlier that Condola made her bed in terms of this. This would be a different discussion if Lawrence didn't want a fucking cookie over every little thing. You can't say that we're being too hard on Lawrence when Lawrence's whole thing is I'm a fucking awesome dad. I can't believe people are looking at me like I'm an asshole when you're not doing awesome dad shit.
And no one's looking at him like an asshole except for
maybe
Issa's sister.
Issa definitely.
Issa was like, bye. But I mean, she doesn't even know what he's doing.
Condola's sister is like, man, who is looking at you like that? Your parents still think you're some amazing guy, like
and
the mom
your kid for 6 hours.
Condola's mom was being very nice to him. Like, who are you talking about, my nigga? Like the bitch you fucking? Do she think you're?
She probably don't even know you have
you're
a
deadbeat. I don't understand.
I don't know.
He's not even out here telling bitches he got a kid, y'all.
He not
even telling them. Come on now.
Well, Laconia says we have to learn to be vulnerable no matter what the guy does. She was hard. Now she's mad. As Susan said, it's a defense mechanism. When you're gonna tell somebody you're pregnant and they're gonna tell you to get an abortion, then you gonna come at them like, well, you don't have to be involved with the baby's life.
Speech ready.
Yeah, you're gonna have your speech ready.
And like I already said, Condola realized at the beginning, fat meat is greasy. Like, oh shit, this baby here, I'm tired, I'm stressed the fuck out, and I got to deal with this man. Like, she definitely realized, like, okay.
I think it's actually probably harder to have a situation where where somebody is half in, half out. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, something is better for the kid. The kid doesn't know, like, oh, my daddy, flaked on me this weekend or whatever. Not necessarily not at 4 months old, but it's hard because now you have to take somebody else's opinions into account, even though they're not putting equal effort for it. And so as opposed to if you're just doing it on your own, you just figure the shit out. You don't have to fucking go by anybody. You don't have to accommodate anybody. You don't have to be emotionally supportive of a person who, because they are your child's father. So, let's see. Leah says Tasha told Lawrence he's a fuckboy that thinks he's a good dude. That was Exhibit B as proof of that. That's what I said. It is what it is.
Out.
Yeah, Lawrence has exhibited a lot of fuckboy tendencies, but apparently some people don't see that. That's fine.
The
last thing I'll say on this is, she said, Laconia says Condola was emotionally unavailable because
that's irrelevant at this point.
Because
they broke up.
Lawrence was not emotionally available to her. Like, he didn't check on her. Anyways, whatever. We're not going to retread all that.
I don't even know what
the last thing I'll say is I really, really wish that then this show was going off, so it had to be somebody else's show. Because I don't think we're getting any more Condola and Lawrence. Is that there would have been something valuable in the insecure realm of showing this perspective and this experience in a way from a woman experiencing it. But that's not how this works. Okay. So it is what it is that. I can't imagine. I literally cannot relate to Condola's experience because that wasn't my experience. And it was just appalling for me because it wasn't my experience. So I don't know. Maybe it's not as appalling to other people because it was similar to their experience, whether they're married or unmarried or whatever situation may be. I don't know. I can't speak on anybody's experience, but for me, I was just like, this is fucking terrible. I couldn't imagine having to deal with any of this shit because my experience has been totally different. So shout out to my husband. Season, shout out to Go Husband. And you know, I guess if this is supposed to be a cautionary tale, you know, tell men to keep their dick in their pants too. Don't just have the cautionary tale be for the woman. And there's that.
The previews.
The previews are moving on.
they gave me nothing. I have no fucking clue what's going on in the next episode.
I did like Issa hair though. Them two braids.
Do they go to Mexico or they just read up?
They going to a beach party.
Brunch? Oh,
it looked like it was party. Maybe Doc Weiler. I don't know. Redondo.
Like, where are this whole the preview was they at brunch finna get drunk.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so we're gonna do like, you know, Issa and Nathan again.
It sounded like Nathan gave his homeboy the green light to holler at Issa.
No, I think that he was getting the green light to holler at Molly because he said, would it be weird to date your homegirl's girl? Like, that's what I took from it. Right? Because you saw the preview, right, Ashley?
Yeah, I didn't take it. I took it as he was asking about Molly.
Yeah, I think he was asking about Molly, not about Issa.
Yeah.
And I think, because he said, let me tell you why. Because he was like, yeah, yo, girl. And then Nathan was like, that's not my girl. Issa's all over the place. So that's what he was saying. So he was saying, yo, girl's girl. And Nathan corrected him on that. Okay. Leah said it reminded me of the Beachella episode. Yeah, maybe it's like a Beachella type of thing. So I think I guess we're not going to do Issa and Lawrence. We're going to do Nathan and Issa, which is retread. I will say this last thing about Lawrence. So it was interesting that now here it is a year later. Let's go back to last episode. And Issa is crying in bed with Nathan. And Lawrence is somewhere.
Do y'all remember when they show previews for the whole season and Lawrence shows up somewhere and he's like, oh yeah, I'm back. Y'all remember that? So
I do remember that.
I think at some point he's gonna move back to LA.
Mm-hmm. Which is appropriate.
As he
has a kid there.
As he should. So I don't know. I think the next episode is probably just gonna be a waste of space.
Well, maybe, but I just had to revisit that Issa couldn't finish the job with Nathan. Meanwhile, Lawrence somewhere in San Francisco
fucking and sucking.
Sucking and fucking. Fucking and sucking. Sucking and fucking. Fucking and sucking. So Issa girl, I need you to move the fuck on. Lawrence done had a whole ass baby. He done been sucking and fucking up in goddamn San Francisco. And you are up in Nathan, or he's in your bed and you crying over spilt milk. Girl, knock it the entire fuck off. So
he's not thinking about that.
He ain't crying over you, girl.
And here's another thing too. Like, okay, so this is one more thing. Because there is obviously a time shift here, right? So why the fuck did Kelly not tell Issa that Lawrence showed up, Mr. Dad, with the little, baby carrier and shit with Condola? Like, that should have been enough for Issa to be over at Lawrence. Like, okay, this shit is real. He got a baby here. It's done. I'm moving on. I'm moving the fuck on. That's my perspective. But, yeah. So we're going to see. Huh?
She's going to have to see that in person.
I you know what? This is probably heading like Issa and Lawrence are probably like Mr. Big and Carrie.
I think they're gonna get back together.
Yeah. They probably will get back together, but I'm just not like normally. I have to put this on here.
Put that comment, Lawrence.
Some people are so.
I think
it's
funny.
I think it's so funny How
No.
Is he
people
doing what, Reese?
suck it in,
Suck
fuck
it in,
it, suck it in, fuck it, suck it in, fuck it. He's sucking in, fuck it, sucking in, fucking in, sucking in, fuck it.
Yo, James is probably patting himself on the back that he made us laugh. Go, James, you did that.
Yeah, thank you.
James, Lawrence. James is actually Lawrence's penis patrol. I think he has it backwards. I think
James is
I
sucking
don't
in,
think,
sucking in,
low-key,
sucking
I think,
sucking in.
I think James Erickson is really Jay Ellis talking, and he just taking up for his character.
No.
We see you, Jay.
Don't
Ellis.
underestimate the number of people out there that go hard for these people. Wow, I'm just gonna put it like that.
Black men finna stick together, bitch.
They gonna stick
Chill.
They don't
James,
care
you
how
gonna stick
raggedy
beside
you
him?
are.
He James
They
gonna stick beside him.
Y'all penis police more than white boys. Okay.
Oh,
Whatever. Whatever. I don't even know. Anyway, he's got enough. You know, some people.
Okay.
It's my fault. I shouldn't even entertain it because people then that encourages them more. But this is an interactive show, so thank you all for tuning in. I'm looking forward to absolutely nothing happening next week because it's just going to be a filler episode. We're just going to get maybe some punchlines and some Issa and Nathan
awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
awkward.
Kofi cuts her out though, so that might be interesting.
That was the one other thing I wanted to say. Krayshawn slandering Issa.
Crenshaw. It's supposed to be Crenshaw, but
Crenshaw. I'm like, you know what?
Kofi's people. I mean,
Kofi's people, like, no good deed goes unpunished because he, first of all, completely bucked her request, and then you still gonna turn around and slander her. Like, I can maybe understand slandering her if, like, you went by what she said, but, like, you did it anyway, so why are you slandering her? That's crazy. But anyway, so that might be the most interesting thing that happens next week. So, you know, it'll go on to cancel. I don't even like using the same words that these Republicans be using, cancel culture and all that bullshit. But you know how people like to try to cancel you and shit on social media. People try to cancel me. Ain't gonna happen. But yeah, so to tune in next week. Lawrence Hive, Penis Patrol, you're welcome to come back next week. Lawrence is not going to be in there, so you have to find something else to be fake mad about. But shout out to everybody who joined the conversation tonight. As usual, MG Terp is here, and the 33, and everybody that was here. Shout out to y'all. This has been fun. Bye, y'all.